Hi, my name is Farhad Javidi. On behalf of Persian Awards, Jawayez Parsi, I'm in conversation with Ms. Kim Johnson. Ms. Johnson is a British Labour Party politician. She has been a member of Parliament for Liverpool Riverside since 2019. Ms. Johnson, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Farhad, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your awards today. As you've just mentioned, my name is Kim Johnson. I was elected as the Labour politician for Riverside in 2019. I was also the first Black MP ever to be elected in Liverpool. And you may know that Liverpool has a long history of diverse communities, Black communities, Yemeni communities, Somali, Chinese communities, some of the longest established across Europe. And prior to being elected as an MP, I worked for Liverpool City Council. In 2005, I was employed as the Cultural Diversity Manager for Liverpool Culture Company, which was established to support our European Capital of Culture in 2008. And as part of that festival, Liverpool was known as the world in one city, which was our strapline, and art and culture at that time. And still, Liverpool is very famous for its art and culture. And I played a key role in terms of linking and becoming involved with a range of diverse organisations in the city. So various cultural organisations, disabled organisations, and LGBT organisations, to ensure that they played a full and active role in us supporting European Capital of Culture in 2008. And prior to that, I worked as a community development worker across Liverpool and Merseyside, working with a range of different groups, with residents associations, with teenage mums, and people had drug and alcohol problems. So yeah, I've had a bit of a varied and diverse working career so far. And, you know, being the MP for Liverpool Riverside has been my proudest moment, really.
Do I remember right? I mean, Beatles are from Liverpool, correct?
The Beatles are from Liverpool, Farhad, yes, and
I mean,
you know, and they've had a very long history, and a lot of people still travel far and wide to come to the city, to
and I remember,
our Beatles Museum.
And I remember growing up hearing a lot about their soccer team, correct? Very good.
Yes.
Soccer team. Yep.
Yes, we have two amazing football teams in Liverpool, two amazing cathedrals in Liverpool.
You know, it's so funny because in Iran, we call it football as well. But I mean, being in the United States, I've been so used to just calling it soccer now. Sorry about calling it soccer. So, Ms. Johnson, how important do you see you mentioned about arts and culture. How important is, you know, arts and culture in society?
Well, you know, I think it is very important because I think, you know, it allows people from different cultures to communicate with each other, brings people together. I think it has the ability to break down barriers. And as a city, I think we have done an awful lot in terms of recognising and supporting. You know, the beginning, I think January, we have, you know, Chinese New Year. And it's a big event. So we have an Arabic art festival. We recognise, you know, Black History Month. You know, so it is very much about recognising the contributions that various groups bring to our city. You know, they have a lot to offer, and as I mentioned, it's a great way of breaking down barriers.
And when we are thinking about art and culture, how important do you see the local media? Importance of local media?
Well, I think the media is very important because it helps to promote and support. But I think it's about how the media uses that, you know, for a force of good, because we know that the media can often use use stories as a way of creating rifts within communities. I think that was very prominent during the 2016 referendum, when there were divisions created. People were seen as scapegoats and blamed for the global economic crises. So I think the media has a key role to play in providing positive stories as well, and not just negative stories.
Correct, and especially you yourself representing a diverse, from a diverse background. So you're coming from a diverse background and representing very diverse group in your community. So how do you support, like as a MP, how could you support arts and culture in a society? How could they, the organizations in arts and culture could come to you and get some support?
Well, I think it's very much about, developing strong links, going to visit those organizations, promoting those organizations on social media, linking up those groups with other groups across the city, again, because I think it's important to share those influences far and wide. We have in the city a lot of examples of how we've done that in the past, because Liverpool has been, very culturally segregated to a certain extent in terms of north and south. The south of the city was far more diverse. I think things have changed quite significantly over the years. So it's looking at sharing those influences, imparting the different cultures, whether that be dance and music and food, it's a way of bringing people together, and understanding those different traditions and cultures. But it is very much about trying to find funding, working with the local authorities and art organisations as well, to get some of the local based art organisations, to think a bit more creatively about how they engage with more diverse groups, instead of, often viewing things through a very monocultural lens.
Do you see any value in organizations like us who are trying to provide awards or celebrating someone's accomplishments or group's accomplishments?
I think, yes, definitely, because a couple of weeks ago, I attended a local community organisation, and it was the Somali group, and they were holding graduation awards for young Somali students. And it's very much about recognising contributions. It's about valuing their contributions and sharing, the contributions that they make and their successes, because I'm a firm believer in success breeds success. You can't be what you can't see. And so other people see how people have benefited and achieved, then I think it's a lot easier. So I think it's really important, to have these events. I mentioned before, we have Arabic Art Festival in Liverpool. I attended recently in Liverpool Diversity Awards. It's a national event, so it is very much about promoting and raising awareness of these types of events, because I think it gets out there, and I think it's very positive.
Ms. Johnson, tell me a little bit about your own job. Like, is it hard? I mean, how did you get into politics? I mean, how were you interested to even start doing a job like this?
I suppose I've always had an interest in politics, particularly in terms of racial and social justice. Growing up in Liverpool in the 70s, it was difficult, a lot of unemployment, a lot of racism. There's a lot of, major issues about underrepresentation of Black people across the public and private sector in Liverpool. And when I was growing up, there was a very negative relationship between the police and the Black community. And Maggie Thatcher was the Prime Minister at the time, Maggie Thatcher, the milk snatcher, and did not like Liverpool, was trying to disinvest funding from Liverpool, but we are a very maverick city, and challenged a lot of that perceived threats from the Tory government. So I got involved in demonstrations and rallies, and went to listen to political speakers, members of the Black Panther movement, listening to Maya Angelou, Desmond Tutu, various other people, and got involved in that kind of local activism as a teenager. And then when I became a youth and community worker, got involved in the trade union movement. Then I've always been an active trade unionist, but became far more active when I joined Liverpool City Council, joined Unison, became the deputy chair of the regional and national Black Members Committee, and became involved in international politics because the union at that time had lots of links with international trade unions, and that was, you know, really interesting for me, particularly the international element. And I think becoming active and involved in the trade union movement kind of whetted my appetite for politics. But becoming a politician, becoming an MP wasn't on my bucket list. It kind of happened as a series of unintended consequences, really. You know, the incumbent MP resigned, then a general election was announced and I applied. I was encouraged to apply by my local Labour Party and my trade union, and was selected as the prospective parliamentary candidate, and the rest is history, really. So like nearly 2 years on, it's been a bit of a bumpy ride, to say the least.
So is it hard job? I mean, I understand that you have 2 young kids. Is it taking so much time off?
No, I don't. I have grandchildren, Farhad, so, but my children are 34 years old, so that they're no longer that young.
So I was reading about your grandchildren.
Yeah, but no, so it's quite easy for me in terms of I don't have commitment at home, but it's a balance between undertaking parliamentary work while I'm in London, and then doing a lot of the work in my constituency. And so from my point of view, working in Liverpool with the constituency is the most important part of my job, and, you know, supporting those that are most in need in my constituency is very important. So getting that balance sometimes can be a bit difficult. Is
there anything else you want to add to our conversation?
I'm very proud and privileged to be an MP. It gives me a lot of opportunities, but in terms of the work that you're doing, I think is really important, and I think it should be recognised, and I hope you do get funding to enable you to do that. And I think maybe links with other organisations, because I know I think that networking and collaboration is really important, particularly within art and cultural organisations.
I usually at the end of our conversation ask a very unrelated question. Is it okay to ask you an unrelated question?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember those old cassette tapes? You know,
I do.
We had 60 minutes, 90 minutes.
Yeah, I do.
Or, you know, those 60 minutes cassettes, do you know how long, if you lay down the tape, how long is the tape in meters?
In meters, gosh. I don't know, because you can stretch them as well, can't you?
Oh, I would. Just the way that you lay down on the ground.
If you take them out, I would hazard a guess of something like 10 meters far.
It is 172 meters. And
there you go.
The exact is 172.2 meters. I was very shocked when I read that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I understand that you are actually between chambers and you have to go back, and you have a very short time. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you, Farhad, for asking me to get involved, and I'm more than happy to have had a conversation with you. So thank you very much and take care.